that. Now Satan, the devil, is the expert at clap takedowns. He loves to distract us. He loves to distract us with temptations. And he loves to distract us with anything that can get our eyes and our focus off of Jesus Christ. Especially in this holiday season, right? This busy holiday season. And I know that firsthand because I'm working part-time in the mall, in the Garden State Plaza in New Jersey, in Macy's, and that place is a zoo. I don't need to explain that. You know what I'm talking about. Alright? Now, especially in this holiday season, Christmas time, Satan is especially good at distracting God's people. But Satan is especially good at distracting God's people at any time of year, right? But like I said, especially in this time of year. And he loves to go after us with his clap takedowns. He loves to try to take down God's people, clap in our face, take us down, try to mess us up, and get us off the track from the Lord. Now, this is supposed to be that time of year that we reflect on the coming of Jesus Christ, in a very special way, right? Now, I've been told that the word Christmas means Christ sent. Okay? So, Jesus was sent into the world for a very special purpose. Now, I don't know if this word comes from Latin or what, but I've just heard somewhere that Christmas means Christ sent. Okay? But in this busyness of this Christmas season, it's really easy, isn't it, for all of us to forget about what Christmas is all about. Jesus, right? Okay, so Satan is busy distracting us, and he's also busy sending around this disease. There's a disease going around, and I'm going to call it the disease of forgetfulness. That's a term that I learned from some friends who are in recovery from life-controlling addictions, which is basically when we forget, we forget, how bad sin really is. We lose our focus and we forget how good God has been to us. It's called the disease of forgetfulness. And that, of course, is the title of my message this morning, the disease of forgetfulness. And we can come to a place where we take God for granted, and we can begin to think, well, a little sin here and a little sin there doesn't matter. And we lose our focus, right? Because Satan is busy clapping in our face, getting ready to take us down. He's distracting us. He's getting us out of our purpose. So we need to keep our lives in tune with God, okay? We need to keep our lives in tune with God, just like a piano needs to stay in tune, and guitars need to stay in tune. Our lives need to stay in God's purposes for us. Now we know from history that when people lose their focus and we take our blessings for granted and we're out of tune, that all hell can break loose. You think about it, today is December 5th, 2 days from now, December 7th. What was December 7th, 1941? Pearl Harbor, okay? And we were caught off guard, and we thought, oh, that kind of thing would never happen, getting attacked on American soil, right? And then years later, we got comfortable and we got complacent again. And then what happened? September 11th. We got comfortable. As Americans, we got complacent. We were taking life too easy. We let our guard down. And we began to take our blessings for granted, the blessings of security, the blessings of freedom. We began to think, oh, nobody will ever attack our country. No, not here in America. That wouldn't happen. We lost our focus, right? And we let our guard down. And when Satan is busy clapping in our face and distracting us, especially during Christmas time, that's exactly what's happening to us. And just as there were consequences for our country for letting our guard down and thinking that nothing bad could ever happen to us, the same thing can happen within our souls when we lose our spiritual focus off of Christ and we begin to take our blessings for granted, and we begin to take Christ Himself for granted. So I want us to take a look at some passages in the Word this morning that will teach us to not forget the Lord Jesus Christ and to not take Him for granted in this Christmas season. I'd like you to turn to 1 Peter chapter 1 and keep your thumb or any finger there, and then turn over to 2 Peter chapter 1. Keep your finger in 1 Peter 1 because that's the main text that we're going to be looking at today, okay? And then I just want to read something really short in 2 Peter 1 that will explain why exactly I'm going to be teaching on this. In 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 12 through 15, Peter says, I'm reading out of the New Living Translation, I plan to keep on reminding you of these things, even though you already know them and are standing firm in the truth. Yes, I believe I should keep on reminding you of these things as long as I live. But the Lord Jesus Christ has shown me that my days here on earth are numbered, and I am soon to die. So I will work hard to make these things clear to you, and I want you to remember them long after I'm gone. So Peter is basically saying that as Christians, there are things that we already know. We know, most of us here, we've been saved for a while, we understand the basics of who Jesus Christ is and why He came into the world. But because we have the disease of forgetfulness, because we have this human nature, because we have this flesh, we need to have our spirit stimulated constantly so that we do not forget what Christ has done and who He is and the claims that He has on our lives. So there's a purpose for it all. Then the main passage we're going to look at is 1 Peter chapter 1. Now for the sake of time, I'm not going to read the whole thing right now. What I'm going to do is, as I go through the message, I'm just going to read different verses, and then you can just follow along in the Bibles. Okay? We'll save time of it, because it's a pretty lengthy passage. Now during Christmas, we're going to be unwrapping gifts, right? People are going to give us presents. We're going to unwrap. Ooh, what's in here? Ooh, right? And sometimes we want to peek the night before on Christmas Eve. Ooh, what's this? I know that I did that when I was a kid. If the wrapping was open a little bit, I took a peek. Oh, I know what kind of toy that is. Yeah, right? We're going to be unwrapping gifts. Now there are things that I want us to see as we unwrap this passage of Scripture. If we take a look at this text, there's two things. The first one is why Christ was sent into the world. And if you have a study sheet, it says consider soberly what God has done for you. If we consider soberly what God has done for us, we're going to see why was Christ sent? Why we celebrate Christmas? And the second thing is how should we live? How should we live as a result? Which is to let our life match our high calling. So one is to consider soberly what God has done for us, focusing on why Jesus Christ was sent into the world. And the second thing is to let our life match our high calling and ask ourselves, how should I live as a result? How should I live as a result? Okay, so let's take a look and let's answer these questions. Does everybody have a study sheet? Everybody got one? Okay. There are some blanks you can fill in, and if you miss anything, just ask me after the service, and I'll be glad to help you out with that. Okay, but I'll do my best to make sure that everybody is able to follow along with the study sheet that I gave us. Okay, number one, why was Jesus sent into the world? Because we're looking at considering soberly, what God has done for us. Look at 1 Peter 1, verse 18. Okay? 1 Peter 1, verse 18. It says, for you know that God paid a ransom to save you from the empty life you inherited from your ancestors. The empty life. Notice that. And the ransom He paid was not with mere gold or silver. He came to save us from our emptiness. That's the first one. Jesus came to save us from our emptiness. Now, all we have to do is just look around at people everywhere. in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our jobs. People are empty. Just look at people's faces. Especially at this time of year. Many people are empty. While it's a season of gladness and joy for many, it's a season of sadness for others. It's a season of sorrow for others. And it's very unfortunate that it has to be like that. Well, actually, it doesn't have to be like that. It's just unfortunate that it is like that. But the good news is that it doesn't have to be like that. Just look at people's faces. See the sadness in people. And then the things that people try to do to fill that void. You know, smoking, alcohol, drugs, sex, money, entertainment, all these distractions of the enemy trying to mess people up. But yet people are never truly satisfied. Because the things of this world might give people cheap thrills, right? But in the end, people's hearts are empty. And they're empty until they're filled with Jesus Christ. So the truth is that we'll never find what we're looking for in life until we give our heart and our life completely to Jesus.